Hello everyone. Previously we have seen a list and we also saw how to use tuples. So list, for example, I have say we can say my list equal to, right? We can say mango, right? 5 to 2.56, maybe apple, right? Monday. So we have the list and we know how to access the elements by we can index like my list. I can say 0, 1, etc. So we will get we can index and get all the elements. So now we also saw that I can say k equal to 0 and use the while loop. I can say while k less than the length of my list, right? I can say print, I can index and get my list of k, right? For example, if I say 2, so we have 2, we can say k plus equal to 1, right? K equal to k plus 1, we have to increment and let's put start with the 0. So we start with the 0, the element, and then increment. So now we have like how many? 3, 6, 7 elements in a list, and depending upon the if it's a string, it has concatenated it, means multiplied by 2 means you add the string 2 times, and otherwise if it is an integer or a floating point, you have multiplied by 2. So I can access the elements and process it by just indexing, so I can run through the list, right? Now instead of this, since we have a collection, we can do the same idea with the collection that we learned tuple. Same idea goes for tuple as well. We can access the element by indexing. So now if I want to since this is a collection, we have another way of accessing the elements. We can loop through the collection itself in a different way using the for loop. Basically, the syntax is very simple. So we say for, I can say k, or we can say item, right? Item in my list, print item. So what does this do? So item in my list. So my list, we know that it has got all the element mango, 10, 4, 5, 12, apple, and Monday. So when I say item in my list, for every item in my list, in the first run, the item becomes mango. In the second time, it becomes 10, then it becomes 4, then it becomes 5, and 12. So every time I'm getting one item at a time. So for item in my list means for every item in my list, print the item. So basically exactly what it reads exactly, and that is exactly the way it works. So I have mango 5, 2, and to convert into the same idea that we did previously, just nothing, simple. So we don't have, so this and this one, right? And this piece of code here, same, but we are not using any while loop. We made sure that there's an if condition here. Now we don't need anything. We are iterating over a list. The things that we are using is the for, and there's an in operator. So so now We can also do, so we can do any kind of or we can also put in it, we can make it complex, or do we don't need to restrict ourselves to one, right? I can say for example, so we have seen, right, type of x, right, sorry, type of is str, right? Okay, say if type of x equal to str, it's true, right? So I can rewrite the piece of code. For example, let's say if I want to only print string, I can say if type, right, item equal to str, for example, item star 2, right? So mango, apple, Monday. So I can write my compound, I can say multiple lines of statement under the for statement, under this for loop. So we have while loop, for loop, and here we just used the in operator and for, and we're iterating over the items in the list. So this is my collection, and I can do the same thing, right? I can do, say, for item in a tuple, right? I can say 1 2 3, yeah, 100 or something. I can say print item star 2, right? I said, so 3 items. First it prints 1, then the square of 2, and the square of 100. So now instead of a list, I used a tuple. So it's a both are collections. So now one of the things is, here you see that I use the in operator, right? And if I want to index, sometimes I may want to just, rather than getting items, just picking the item itself, I may want to index and do things. For example, let us say if I want to do that, how do we do? I can say, this is one thing we have. I say, for example, for, right, I for, say, I or p in, right, I'll say, I can say, I know indexes are 0 1 2, right? So p in 0 1 2, so p 0, first time p become 0, second time p become 1, and third time p becomes 2. I say print, right? Now how to get the item? So let us do this, right? Let's do our my list. So this is my list. So I want to do, this is what we want, for item in my list, right? Say print items. This is what I want. So if I want to do this, I say for p in, I have index 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I say 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? And I say print. Now I have to index, right, my list of p star 2. So the same idea, but done in a different way. The same thing, the for loop exactly works the same idea here and here. There is no difference. So here it was picking up the items from this list. Here p is picking up items from this list, and I use my list, and p become first 0. So p of 0, my list of 0 is mango, and my list of 1 is 5, and so on and so forth. So this guy, I know what is this. Basically it's the length of, it has a relationship to the length of this list, right? So which is basically 7. So what we can do is that we have something called a range function. If you use that in connection with the for loop, things becomes a little bit more easier. I don't have to, for example, if a 100 element list, if I can generate somehow 0 to 99, that would be much more easier, right? Here, for example, 7 element list 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. If I can somehow generate 0 to 9, that would be very easy for us. So for that, I can say here, for example, I can say range 7, which would actually is equivalent to this guy. So I start with a 0 here and 7 not included, 6, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So that's what range 7 basically means. And if you like, if you can also see that the range has also a step element, so it's like range. I can also specify start value, which is 7. So it's just start value, stop, and step. For example, I can write something like range. At the moment it is like this, and my stop value is 7. So that is what this is. Now I can make the start value as 1. So which will start from 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so forth. And if I do 2, that will be from here. Now we see that this, I cannot really see this thing because it's a generator. So what we can do is we can pass into the list function. So which basically, for example, I have from a collection it generates a list. For example, I have a C mango, right, which is a collection string, which basically gives us a list. And if I do the same thing, I can do with if I pass a tuple, right, gives me tuple. See, now if I want to see the range thing, I pass range 7. It gives me the range. It shows me what it is. Now if you want to experiment with that, I can see if I put 1 0 7, it gives me 0 2, which is same as just 7. The 1 1 is 1 2 3. If I say 2, starts 2 again, and that ends at 7 minus 1. If I want to put only up to 6, so 2 3 4 5 6. Now for the range, I have also one more thing. I have a start value, stop value, and the step. So this is same as the default. Okay, so the default value of the start is 0, and the step value here, the last one, so this is something like range start stop step. We have seen when indexing the same idea. So you see, it's default 0, right? It's the same as range 7, no difference. Now I can change it. If I want step 2, so I get 0 2 4 6. So 0, and my step value is now 2, and now then 4 and 6 and so forth. And now I can also do 1, right? My start value is 1, step value is 2, so 1 3 5. So now we can easily pick up the using the for loop and the range, we can easily pick up the stuff from a list and do analysis and do whatever the complex thing that you want to do, complex or easy calculations and processes that you want to do. For example, let us combine now. So our thing was 4, right? So this is the idea, right? This is what we want to rewrite. So we want to rewrite this guy, which was what? Which was range 7, right? You can see, if you want to look at it, you can say list 7. So now I'm going to rewrite for p in range 7 and rest is just this guy. See, and the good thing about it is, so same thing. So here range 7 is basically this thing, and then we pick up 0, 1, 2 indices. And now we can also do the same idea. If you want to try 0, right, this is the same as range 7, right? Now I can do other thing. I want to start with 1 and maybe step size 2. I get few elements, and if we want start, see, start with the 2 and 2 elements. So we get depending upon the range, right, we can look at what this means and what this means and so forth. So depending upon the range, then you can pick up the elements using indexing and do the analysis that you want. So basically what we have seen is very simple. So we used for loop, which again we say item in a collection, right, and then you do your print item and so forth. So for loop runs through the collection of your list or tuple and pick up the items, and then you have the item is available in your code block, and then you can use it to do whatever you like to do. And we also seen that we can use the range function, which is generator. So so the range, using range, we can generate easily any spaced, like, you know, we can specify the start, stop and step, and then we can generate the numbers, the indices you want, and then we can use it to access the element by the index values, and then do whatever the process, the codes that you want to write. So that's about the for loop. So now we learned the while loop, and we also seen the for loop. I believe it was very easy to follow, and thanks a lot for watching.